Good evening, race fans, and welcome to, is this like our fourth one? Even though racing's been going on for like 2 months, we've only got a couple of slinging dirts out.
Listen, folks, I just want to tell you that it's not that we're slipping. But
well, we are. We're lazy, but we're not going to blame it on that.
You're fat and lazy. I'm slender and good looking.
Hey, after this week, I shed a few pounds.
Yeah, you did. No, we listen, listeners. We're not trying to slip here with the slinging dirt, but we've had so many rainouts this year that it's kind of pointless to do a slinging dirt where there ain't no racing going on.
Yeah, exactly.
I tell you what, though, with all the rainouts that we had this week, Dan, this last weekend made up for about 3 weeks of the rainouts.
I got to say, this weekend was that's one of my top weekends, including some of the traveling I've done abroad, including, spent some time on vacations and that kind of stuff. This was one of my top weekends. I had more fun this weekend than I've had in a long, long time. And that had to do a lot with, I saw, 3 dirt track races? Went to 3 different dirt track races.
Yeah.
I-80 Thursday, Denison on Friday, and then I-80 on Sunday. Saturday, I completely lazied around. I got up from the bed, did not move. I laid on the couch and just zombied all day long. And then Monday, when I got done with Memorial Day festivities, I sat down and watched the Coca-Cola 600. So it was a great weekend.
I actually watched a few minutes, not a whole lot. I watched a few minutes of the nationwide race on Saturday, and we grilled out and had some great big chuck steaks on the grill and baked taters. And it was a good old time. And just kind of like you, just kind of sat around the house, totally forgot about the nationwide race.
You know what? It wasn't. I don't think it was televised this weekend. No, I take that back. It was televised.
It was Channel 7, I believe.
Oh, was it really? No, that was the IndyCar race.
Well, there was a NASCAR race in the early afternoon. Or late afternoon, early evening, there was a NASCAR race on Saturday.
That's why I didn't find it, was because I didn't go that low down. Because ESPN has the contract for nationwide, and they moved it over to ABC for the time being.
I seriously wanted to watch, because I think I tuned in about a half hour into the nationwide race, but I had 7 1-pound chuck steaks on the grill.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
I went out there, and my neighbors came over, and we're drinking some Bud Lights and just talking around the grill. Did not even work on the race cars on Saturday. Just enjoyed it, and the next thing you know, about 10 minutes later, I totally forgot about the nationwide race.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you missed much. Apparently, the most interesting storyline was that Kyle Busch led all but 14 laps. So,
once again, and really, do we need cup drivers?
Well, that's going to be a conversation. Obviously, this is the time for talking dirt, but tune in a couple of weeks, because that's one of the topics we're going to have to get to. Is
I'd like
these
to hear
cup
a lot
guys
of the
coming
fans.
down? Because you brought up to me, I can't remember if it was Friday night or Sunday night with Charlie Clark, that IMCA, if you go up to A-Mods, you can't go down and race sport compacts.
No.
At least not in IMCA. You can go get a sport compact.
I race sport compacts, that's your front-wheel drive cars. But now I race an IMCA sport mod. I cannot hold and race an IMCA A-mod and race sport mod. They want sport mod drivers. They want A-mod drivers.
Yeah.
Johnny Sadoff, Dylan Smith, Jesse Sobbing, they cannot race sport mods.
And that totally took me by surprise, and that actually kind of makes a little bit of sense, because Sobbing raced the B-Mod at the Charlie Clark Memorial.
But it's unsanctioned.
But it's an unsanctioned event. Okay. So, yeah, that's a conversation we're going to have on the front stretch coming up in a couple of weeks. I believe we're live at the end of June, so that'll be 1 week that we're going to have that conversation, and we're obviously going to let fans call in and have their side of the story, because we'd love to get your guys' side of the story.
Absolutely.
Generally, Bud and I will agree, but that doesn't make us right. Usually, it just makes us really wrong.
First of all, if we agree, it's a once-in-a-rare blue moon event.
The Mayans are going, oh, no. No. Should Cup drivers be allowed to come down and race nationwide? I think there's valid points for both sides. Unfortunately, Kyle Busch is making very good arguments for the no argument. So, but that's going to be something we'll have come up on the front stretch. Let's talk slinging dirt. God, it looks like we're going to have a tough time getting some racing in this weekend too. Yeah. Did you see the pictures of Riviera Raceway?
Is it Riviera Lake now?
Yeah.
They're going to have crate-powered boat races out there.
They've been posting pictures. If you haven't seen it, go to their Facebook page. The front stretch is still underwater, but at least now the corners have have drained enough to where.
And we got more storms rolling in this week.
It's obviously it's raining tonight when we recorded on Wednesday night. It's supposed to rain Thursday night. Chances of rain on Friday. And then it dries up for Saturday and Sunday, but
look at the bright side. I bet you the track won't be super dry slick.
Yeah. You guys really will be slinging mud.
Slinging something out there.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, Thursday night, you went to IE, that ASCS show.
Yeah, I was really excited
like?
about seeing that. ASCS National Boys came down and raced. I was really wanting to see someone like Stu Snyder or Jack Dover put it in victory lane and have those guys show the National Boys how to get it done.
Dover broke, didn't he?
He did.
Drive shaft.
And Stu Snyder didn't make the show. Had a rough night. I talked to him in the pits, and I felt really bad for him because he had a lot of high hopes going into that race, but just didn't have the car set up the right way and just couldn't go anywhere. I think he started the B feature last and finished last. So
wow,
he was pretty.
That's not like Stu.
Yeah, he was pretty dejected about it. Jack Dover made the A and was racing pretty well. Was holding his own. I can't remember. I think he finished top 10. I'll have to look it up on the ASCS board.
Did he finish the whole race, or did he pull in? If he pulled in, he didn't finish top 10.
I thought he finished the race, but I was busy running around with my head cut off, so I can't remember. I do remember that it was Dan Lasowski or the Duke, the dude,
Danny Lasowski.
Yeah, that won the race. And that was a terrific show. I was really happy with that. Great track. Everybody I talked to said that I-80 did a fantastic job on that track.
Yeah, a good buddy of mine, Dennis Cook, won the Sport Mods.
I haven't seen somebody more excited to win that guy was so thrilled because him and his sons built that car from the ground up. Chassis, everything. It's hand built by those two boys. And I looked at it, I said, well, you keep on having this success, you can go into business. He said,
no, I can just see him rubbing his Fu Manchu going, no.
Also, the best Fu Manchu this side of the Mississippi. I mean, listen, Paul Tuttle over in Orange County in New York's got it won for that side of the Mississippi. But this side of the Mississippi, I think it's Dennis Cook.
If you ever see my car and you see the Yosemite Sam on the side of my car, that is a red-haired Dennis Cook on the side of my car.
It really is. He's a complete character.
He's an awesome guy.
Great to see him.
Awesome racer. Yeah. The one thing about his car, a lot of drivers, when they build their cars, they kind of take a Dirtworks or a Harris or a Skyrocket, and they pretty much copy it bar for bar, maybe a few. Not him. That is a complete, total one-off, let's see if this bar works here. Let's put a bar here. Let's put a bar there. And I think he's got that one win from Thursday night.
Yeah.
But I think he's got several second or third place finishes with that car. I mean, he's tickled pink with that car. The Cooker chassis. Can you smell what the cooker is cooking?
That's a fantastic name.
The Cooker chassis, burning them up.
I'm trying to look up the results from Thursday night at I-80 for the
and he had some
Memorial.
stiff competition. I mean, you got the number 40 Sean Harker. I think he is the current points leader for ID in the B mods, and Sean Harker is also, I believe, the current points leader in the sport mods at Eagle. He runs, good Lord, top 5 just about everywhere he goes. Out there at I-80, you've got Joe Fain in the 25X. You got Kevin Wagner in the number 10. You got Laney Schwartz in the 18. So, I mean, he's not racing against slouches with this Cooker chassis. And, he's running against, 17, 20, 24 cars, 17 to 24 cars, give or take, each week.
And to follow up on that, Dover started 6th, finished 12th. He did end up finishing the race.
Oh, okay.
There was only 5 drivers that DNF'd. So.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, it was. I think he held his own pretty well against the National Boys. I think he did very well for himself. Then he went on in the Midwest and won the next night. So.
Yeah. Sounds like the gas man.
Yep. No shock there. And then he was in the pits for the Charlie Clark Memorial too. I got to talk to him.
Dover was.
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Dover won the night after the Thursday night ASCS National. He won for the ASCS Midwest at McCool Junction. So, yeah.
So let's talk Friday night.
Denison.
Cha-ching, cha-ching.
I'm very, very pleased at the car count for Denison. It's continued to maintain. We started 139 was the first week. Then we dropped to 119 the second week. So, of course, there's the naysayers out there. Oh, here it comes. There's going to be a bunch of drivers not coming back. Drivers hate the track, blah, 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 blah.
Have you ever learned, Dan, when a driver says,
you don't listen to the drivers.
We're not coming back. We're not coming back. Yeah, hey, Dan. Nice to see you. We're back.
And then last week, we had 126.
126. Now, the one thing I did notice is I turned around and I looked at one young lady. I was like, man, you look at them stands. Them stands are pretty bare, even for Denison. Come to find out, there's a huge gymnastics recital that almost every child within 40 miles goes to that in their family.
It was, and it was Memorial Day weekend, so there was a lot of families that were camping, they were vacationing, and there was a couple of drivers I know that missed racing, not because they didn't want to come back to Denison, because they were out camping with their families, taking a weekend off, having a good time. But I still think the crowd filled in very nicely. It's a late showing crowd. They don't get there until about 7:15, 7:30. Just about the time that green flag waves, and really it starts to fill up at about 8 o'clock. So it's usually a little bit of a later crowd.
Yeah,
and good racing Friday night at Denison again. I thought they did really well for themselves as far as having 126 cars and rolling through. We had did we have a red flag on Friday? I can't remember.
No, but
they've all mashed together.
Yeah, I don't think we had a red flag on Friday. The one thing, being a driver and the class sponsor for the Sport Mods, way to go, green, white, checkered, not one caution in the Sport Mod feature. That was amazing. But, man.
That's a first. You guys didn't have a single caution. Usually you guys can't go 2-3 laps.
Oh, no.
I joked with you at the beginning of the season. I said, listen, your philosophy at Denison needs to be Jimmy Johnson's philosophy at Daytona and Talladega. Hang out in the back till the last few laps because everyone's going to wreck themselves out and you're going to get yourself a top 10.
My car was fast. I come in, I was like, my God, we're slow. They're like, no, you top 17, 18 guys out of 25, you guys were hauling the mail. You guys took away. There was like 4 or 5 cars in the back that just couldn't keep up with us.
Yeah.
And I'm coming around turn 2, and here comes Doug Smith, a 12 car. And I'm like, okay, I'm running 17th, and I just got lapped, and there's 25 that started. What in the hell does he have under the hood of that thing? And they're like, but that guy checked out from everybody.
Yeah,
he was gone.
I asked him on Sunday at the Charlie Clark, I said, you going to let anybody else win? He kind of chuckled and goes, nope.
Nope.
I think
that's a racer for you.
Yeah, he's had back-to-back wins.
He's got to be leading the points at Denison, I would think, by now.
Let me look him up real quick.
But, man, smooth driver, had great control of the car. I mean, it just, wow. And now that, hey, guys, my competitors, I'm just putting out a fair warning now. Now my wifey, my girly friend at home is working again. I could spend more money, so now I'm coming with the 6 guns a-blazing.
Watch out. You'll be wrecking a lot more is what I'm saying. Doug's currently 5th in the point standings. He did jump 2 positions. Guess.
One of the Scott boys.
Yeah, one of the Scott boys. Logan Scott. Yeah. Keegan's having a little bit of a rough first start to the season. But listen, there is only an 8-point separation between 1st and 7th.
Where am I at on that list?
You are
12th?
10th. You raised a position this week. Yeah.
Really?
There was there was a lot of drivers that let's see, Chase Ellingston, who was a top 5, didn't come this week. I think he was racing somewhere else. He dropped 10 positions. Jim Lampy didn't had a rough weekend. I think he wrecked out. He dropped. Jason Blunk. There was a couple of drivers that just didn't come, and so you were the benefactor of.
But
no
that also
consistency.
goes to show, the consistency. But even if you're consistent, you got to run somewhat decent because the points are so close that you miss one night, like you just said, Ellison or whatever his name is, 10 positions lost.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. And he went from 5th to 15th in one night. So. And like I said, there's 8 points separating 7th and 1st place in the Sport Mods at Crawford County Speedway.
Points.
Now, Evan Nimitz, who's in 8th, is 22 points behind. So
how far out am I? Am I in my own zip code?
You're 28 points behind. You're not me in the Pick'ems contest for NASCAR kind of behind. Let's just clarify that right away. In fact, nobody's that far behind.
If somebody in front of me had a bad night, though, I could be a benefactor and pick up another spot yet.
you're going to need 2 weeks, 3 weeks because I take that back. Jeff Teniker, Evan Nimitz has a bad night. Yeah. You've come up into the top 10. So
I won't win the championship, but I could potentially squeak out a 5th, 6th place finish.
I think so, and you did that last year too. It was consistency.
Yes.
Every single week
because
you were there.
We're going into our 3rd week. This upcoming week, we're going into our 4th week. Mm-hmm. And even at this time last year, I was still 10th, 9th.
Yeah.
So I'm still on track from last year for consistency. Yep. So I'm not too worried about it. The Joe's Karting Sport Mine, it's running pretty good. Having a lot of ball. Have not wrecked this year. Knock on wood. No.
Yeah, you better knock on some wood right now.
No, but I've developed a new habit. I like to do the General Lee impersonation off turn 3.
Yeah, you did go a little high there, didn't you?
Yeah.
I saw. If you haven't been to Crawford County, turns 3 and 4, no wall, grass.
No wall.
I love that, by the way. They talked about at the end of last season they were going to move that wall in. I don't think they should. I love that grass being there. And I know because I think it adds a little bit difference. 1 and 2 are identical corners to 3 and 4, theoretically. But you've got to run them different because you get a little too high in 3 and 4 and you hit that berm.
Yeah, that wall can actually save you as a driver, though. And here's why.
Well, the only person last year who benefited from the wall not being there was Donnie Gustav. When he was leading the race, hauling the mail down the backstretch, and his steering broke, and he just went straight.
Yep.
He'd have clocked that wall.
Yeah, but that's a very rare freak occurrence.
Right.
Whereas, I'll take another guy that likes to run the high side, the one and only Josh Most. He gets up there. Now, we've seen this year a lot of the A-mods even like to flirt way up there where I like to run.
Yeah.
The problem is if you get one little bit of mud or a rut or something, it could suck you over that wall. Well, on the backside of that wall or that berm, it's angled quite a bit. So if it dries out and you catch a rut or a tuft of grass or something, it could actually flip and roll you. Whereas if you had the wall up there going through the corners, you might slam into the wall.
Yeah.
And you might bend a rear end,
right.
but you ain't gonna flip and roll and destroy a car.
I'm trying to think if somebody rolled last year.
I think there was one car.
I think you're right. I think there was one person that scenario actually happened. As a fan, I like that wall not being there. I think it adds a little bit
of watch when we go up there.
It's like Richmond, where turns 1 and 2 are sharper than 3 and 4, and so you can't take the corners the exact same way.
Do you remember last year?
I like how that changes up.
You remember last year up there at Denison in the middle of 3 and 4? I actually went off the track, not sideways. I don't know what. I can't remember exactly what happened. I went off the end of the track, and they had alfalfa growing up there, and it was pretty darn tall. And all you see is alfalfa moving.
That was pretty. It was like a lion stalking his prey.
And so here I am coming.
That was hilarious.
I came back onto the track, and I'm like, I had to get my bearings about me. I was like, okay, so we're in turn 4, and I come in the pits, and there's alfalfa throughout.
Yeah.
My car smelled really good.
And it was after that week I said we got to get that cut because I'm really surprised for as long as you spent time in that dead grass that it didn't catch on fire. I don't think it had hurt anybody.
Oh,
but
it wasn't dead. It was
chaos.
green, and there were seeds.
At that time it was green. Okay, because it died pretty quickly through most of last year when it got.
All I know is I seriously did not know where I was driving. All I know is I'm sitting in alfalfa as tall as my door. Where am I at? So I'm just driving through there, and I was like, okay, well, I can see that I'm going uphill. And I pop out on the track. I was like, oh, boy, I hope someone's not running the high side here. So anyways, let's go to Sunday night. Charlie Clark, you did some, Thursday and Sunday, you did some infield pit reporting.
I had a fantastic time.
Dude,
that was
you
so
rocked.
much fun. Well, thank you.
You rocked.
I appreciate it. I was paranoid as hell that I wasn't, because it's so weird, like transitioning from the announcer's booth to the pits, because all I do is talk in the announcer's booth to the point where it's almost a fault, because by the time we get to the last 2 features of the night, I've talked for 3 hours straight. I've plumb run out of things to say.
You're but here comes another race.
Yeah, but the contrast to that is when I'm down in the pits, and I was working the pits for the Charlie Clark Memorial. By the way, thank you, Joe Kaziski, for letting me do that. I was standing there watching the race, and I felt guilty. Like I was like, I need to be talking to somebody. What do I need to? And I kept coming over the radio, and eventually Joe Proctor's like, you don't need to be just relax. I'm like, all right. So, no, it was a lot of fun. I got to get down to the pits, got to talk to a lot of really cool drivers, and holy cow.
Did you learn anything?
I learned a lot.
Tell me 3 things you learned.
About the cars, you mean?
Thursday or Sunday, just 3 things in general that you learned infield pit reporting.
It's not as easy as it looks on TV, because you have to change up the questions despite the drivers you're talking to, because the same people are hearing the same thing. So if I walk up to you and ask you the exact same thing, it gets redundant after a while.
Yeah.
And you do have to know who you're talking to, because, we know Kyle Burke. We've interviewed him on Slinging Dirt before. We've interviewed him on the front stretch before. So there's a little bit of history there. We've talked to him about Lakeside Speedway. We watched him race down there. So I've got a little bit of history with him. And I was able to get some Joe Proctor and Joe Koziski both helped me out with some background information on some of these guys. The stuff like, for instance, Thursday night when Dennis Cook won, nice little tidbit of information was that his kids built that. And so I was able to fold that into the Victory Lane interview and kind of tie it in there. So you can't. I walked into it blind, but luckily Joe Proctor, Joe Koziski, Steve Koziski, and all the officials at I-80 both Thursday and Sunday were able to say, okay, this is a little bit of information you need to know just to help out. So I learned, I guess the long answer to come back to it is that it's not as easy as it looks, and you have to know these guys from the background to be able to talk to them. You can't just apply the same questions to everybody because they're not going to work for two different people.
No.
I learned that my feet will hurt really bad.
I wonder how many miles you logged this weekend.
Not enough. I'm still fat. Gosh, what else did I learn? Steve Koziski knows how to put a track together. That guy prepared the track for Thursday night and for Sunday night and did an absolutely magnificent job. And not only that, on Sunday, I give him a lot of credit because you drivers are a bit of a pain in the butt to work with.
No.
And he was working it like a boss, getting everybody lined up for the the heats and the features. And let me throw this last little number out at you guys. Charlie Clark Memorial was supposed to start at 5:55. You and I both,
I knew this
on
was
the front
coming
stretch,
up. This was coming up.
along with Joe Koziski, we're saying, drivers, get there and register early. Because when you guys show up late, who pays the price?
Everybody.
The fans pay the price.
Oh, yeah.
Because you know what? Like we had in Denison that first week, we had to sit there for an hour as everyone who didn't pre-register got typed into the information so that the announcers up in the booth know where they're from, what their car number is, and how to pronounce their name. It's important information. Now, the Charlie Clark Memorial has been on the books for a long freaking time. And Joe Koziski even said, drivers, we'll give you a $10 discount if you guys register ahead of time. Well, of course. When I showed up at, what time did I get there? About 4:30, there was a line out.
A mile long.
Yeah, of drivers who were just showing up, checking in. Okay, anyways. 5:55 was supposed to be hot laps. They started at 6:05. 176 cars.
Record all time, I believe.
We finished, I don't know how many heat races at the Charlie Clark. A couple B features, a segment and a B segment for the A mods, and we were done by 11:30.
There was 6 B mod heats, 3 B features, an A feature for the B mods. I want to say there was 3 or 4 heat races for the hobby stocks.
Yep.
A feature.
There was
8 heat races for the modifieds.
Yep.
2 B features.
Yep.
And then the 44 lap feature with the split in the middle.
But just think about that. 176 cars. And they got done in 5 hours. A little over 5 hours.
That's hauling the mail for
I tell you what, they don't screw around.
No.
At anything. I mean, they don't screw around at all. You don't show up to be in position.
You're done.
You're done. Your night's over with. We appreciate you coming to the Charlie Clark Memorial. Next time, why don't you be on your game? Have a good night.
Yeah, I just found it ironic, like you said, because I was like, I can't wait to mention this. Well, we did it on the front stretch with Joe, but then even on the last Sling and Dirt we did, we talked about that long, stupid wait of waiting on drivers.
We
honestly could have been out of there by 10:30.
Exactly.
Yeah, really.
We definitely could have been. Because I give hands to I-80 also, because not only did they handle the drivers very well, there was a couple of issues behind the scenes that they handled flawlessly. I don't know if you noticed it. Did you notice the lights dimming?
Yeah, I was wondering. I didn't know if that was the track light or no. It was because Joe Proctor. This is the funniest damn thing I've ever heard Joe Proctor say. Well, the lights are flickering on the front straightaway. Maybe OPPD is trying to give Heidi Speedway a heads up.
Yeah, the Jenny was trying to give out.
Oh.
And I don't know how they managed to keep it running, but flawlessly. They got the races all in and before the weather hit, just in time, by the way, for the weather to hit, because I believe it started pouring there. I think I left the track at about 1:30, and by the time I got home and sat down, it was I want to say it. It was peeing. It was rated like a cow peeing on a flat rock. That was a saying Bud busted out tonight. But anyways, yeah.
One other thing I do want to bring up with the drivers. Not, the racing was good this weekend. One thing I am really disappointed in the drivers, and it's not any one driver in particular. Drivers, we are like a close family. We love and hate each other, but we always have each other's backs, in a time of need. Mm-hmm. Joe Koziski came out and mentioned the water. The water, he was taking cases of water for $2 off for each case of water brought. Guess how many cases of water were donated?
I asked him that, and he didn't have an exact account for me because
just barely over 100 total
cases.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. Guess
and the major contributor to that, I don't know who the race team was, but they brought an entire pallet down to Koziski Auto Parts and said, "We're still going to pay our pit passes."
Hold on. That was Brad Perdue.
Okay.
The number 25 late model.
Okay.
That was Brad Perdue. Guess who the number 2 team was? With 32 packs, and 8 or 9 24 packs of water.
Who?
My team.
Yeah. Awesome.
I'm not taking the credit for myself. I'm taking the credit for my team because my team drove their own personal vehicles out.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting here going, we had 176 teams and just barely over 100 cases of water.
I was really hoping Joe would have to rent a semi.
Yeah.
He said he was fully prepared to.
And God forbid.
But it's a tough thing because you don't want to rag on people for not.
But when you find out Walgreens is selling cases of water for $1.50,
yeah,
I mean it's kind of like
you're up 50 cents.
Yeah,
you could have bought 15 cases of water and got into the pits for free.
We had 804 bottles of water, and it was a savings of $67 at the pit gate.
Yeah, and that was a really cool thing that Joe did. He's on his way down there. I think actually he's down there right now in Oklahoma, giving the water over to them. So.
Oh, by the way, if you would email this, I want to send our thoughts and prayers on behalf of the Sling and Dirt to Riverside Speedway, I-44 in Oklahoma City. That track was completely destroyed.
Yeah.
Completely.
I saw the pictures of that.
But here, you talk about a testament to Go Racing. They're going to rebuild and reopen this year yet.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, was it just, I don't want to say just but it was grandstands, concessions that were damaged.
The whole thing.
The actual track itself
is still there, but
pretty well intact.
The catch fence is completely blown over. The grandstands are gone.
Yeah. I noticed they were in the infield.
Ironically, the announcer's booth is there.
They got to hear.
I was just like, wow, you see the 4 legs. It looks just like your announcer's booth. The grandstands are gone, but your announcer's booth is still there.
It's very ironic how it'll take everything else but leave just one standing structure.
Just that one thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
There was also another memorial that ran this weekend, right?
Ron Little. Ron Little, Stewart Speedway.
Who's Ron Little?
I hate to say this, but I don't know. I believe it's a longtime racer that lost his life in some way, and I believe it's either he was a racer or a fan or somebody with the racetrack. I believe he was a long-time racer, but it's a long historical race.
Yeah.
It carries quite a bit of, if you win the Ron Memorial, you've done some.
Right.
The likes of Shannon Anderson, 4 or 5-time national champion of the Hobby Stocks, won the Ron Little. We had a Kaplan kid. I believe he was in the sport mods, and he's top 5 in the nation in the sport mods. I believe he won that.
Modified.
Okay, so he can't. Austin Kaplan?
I just see Kaplan.
Okay. I believe it's Austin Kaplan, but that track, I cannot wait to go out there. Chuck Vanderheiden is the promoter. Awesome facility. They've completely revamped the track, the grandstands, everything. They've done a lot of remodeling to it. the front stretch, we have an open invite to go out there and talk to them and watch the action. We should do that some Sunday night, by the way.
That'd be fun. I'd love to do that.
It's only a short 90 miles to the east.
For the last 13 years, Stewart Speedway has celebrated the life and career of Ron Little. Ron passed away at the track 14 years ago and was someone who was there, speaking as the writer, the story was done by Josh Reynolds. Says, as someone who was there the night that Ron passed away, he was a larger-than-life character, and his spirit lives on year after year. Even those that only have heard of the man can tell how special he was, and the 120 cars in the pits was evidence of that. So that's a hell of 120 cars at Stewart Speedway, and then 176 at I-80.
And you know what's ironic about this? There were severe thunderstorm warnings all around us.
Yeah, he opens up with saying rain clouds were around, but someone used their pole up above, and that was the exact same thing. Was that they were saying at I-80 is that must have been those two guys up there going, you can rain all you want to, but there's going to be a little bubble over these tracks so we can get our memorials in. A good story, by the way. Bo Kaplan from Boone, Iowa won the modified feature. Let's see. Josh Daniels from Des Moines won the stock car feature. Matt Webb from Des Moines won the sport mod feature. See, Shannon Anderson, name we've heard again.
Shocker.
Yep, from Urbandale. Got himself the hobby stock feature win and the dwarf cars. Dwarf cars? Dwarf
cars. Okay, you get the mental image of clowns out of your head.
I've got dwarf in my head. You remember those old videos? Dwarf does baseball, dwarf does golf. Anyways.
Dwarf cars, you're looking at like a 1932 Ford, 1935 Chevy, something like that.
Josh May from DeSoto, Iowa got that victory.
Those cars are fast.
Mini sprints, I'm going to say this name wrong. Brad Cumgies?
Wow. You could take that the wrong way.
Comeggys.
Cumgies.
That's why I think it's Brad Cumgies from Bondurant, Iowa, won himself the mini sprint. So that was the results from Stewart Speedway for the Ron Little.
You got
Memorial.
a website for them?
I tell you what, do yourself a favor, search Ron Little Memorial, and it's the first link that comes up from heartlandmotorsports.com. And it was an article
facility.
It was an article that was written by Josh Reynolds. He does a really good article on all about about how the races went, the payouts, and that kind of stuff. So, very, very good article there. Again, search Ron Little Memorial. That was all I searched in Google, and then it's the first one. The title of it is Kaplan Wins 13th Annual Ron Little Memorial from Heartland Motorsports. What else do we have going on? I know Eagle was supposed to have fan appreciation on Saturday night.
Yep, that was May 25th because of the rain out. God, there's a word I'm getting tired of saying, the rain out. June 8th, keep all of your tickets. But here's the cool thing. So May 25th is Memorial Day weekend. You just mentioned it. People are camping.
Yeah.
Well, what in the hell is going on June 8th?
Nothing. I think what's going on? I'm going Eagle Raceway.
So you have 200 teams floating around with all these tickets, and Eagle Raceway did not have to do this, but they said, okay, look, we're going to go ahead and we're going to honor those tickets for June 8th. Well, that's a class act on behalf of Eagle Raceway.
Yeah.
So now I bet you we don't see, maybe 10,000. I bet you now we're going to see closer to 15 because there's no major holiday. It's not a major camping weekend. It's supposed to be fairly nice. We're not supposed to see the 90s anytime soon.
You got any idea what that place holds? I was trying to think of it one day.
I want to say it was close to 13,000 is the record. 13 or 14,000 is the record. And
was that I think that was
the night 3 years ago.
Okay.
And the Highway State Patrol had to shut the interstate down because if I remember, and this is the first day they did this, if you go a mile and a half west towards Eagle, about a mile east and a mile up the road, there was cars parked on both sides of the road.
Wow.
And people were walking a mile to the track. Well, then if you drive up that road, Dan, right there on the side of the pits, people literally started scaling that fence, and they were just climbing like cockroaches in the night. They were.
So you think probably 15,000 is what
I
can hold?
Full capacity 15,000, but man, it's going to be awful crowded. But
we'll have to ask. We'll have to ask Roger next time we have him on.
But I want to say that the track record right now stands at 13 to 14,000.
Yeah, that's going to be a good weekend again. I'm really excited about that weekend because again, we've got racing at Denison on Friday night. Then Saturday night is fan appreciation night at Eagle. And then something I'm so thrilled for. Sunday night, World of Outlaws.
The
410s.
Are you going to that?
Oh, you better believe I'm going. I got my tickets already.
What are you going to do if Joe lets you
I'm going to pee my pants is what I'm going to do. I'm going to. Because he was talking to me. I said, hey, Joe, what you suppose Tony Stewart's going to come this year to World of Outlaws? And he does it, he says, well, Tony's never come and raced at I-80, so I doubt it. And I said, well, I said, you call him, pull some strings, and oh yeah, you go ahead and do that. But you better believe if I'm pit reporting for World of Outlaws, which that's not realistic, they're going to bring their own guy. But if I am, I'm going to be hanging out in that 14, asking him every question. Like, he's going to be like, security! Security! Who gave this guy a microphone? Get him out of here!
At which point in time, the racetrack will be like, Tony, here's a bag of nachos. Shut up and answer his questions.
Here's some bacon. Just give it to him. He'll just disappear.
Was Brady Bacon showing up for that?
Ooh, good call. Nice transition there. So yeah, that'll be another great weekend of racing. So then what else do we have? We were talking about something else. I can't remember what our final topic was. We were going to talk about tonight.
No, we got quite a bit covered right here in the Sling and Dirt.
The Eagle Nationals.
Eagle Nationals.
That's this weekend.
This Saturday, June 1st.
Boy, it's pretty bad when I'm remembering something.
We've had so much dirt racing going on because we've been just screwed over by all these rainouts that we got a lot on our mind. No, June 1st, Eagle Nationals. I want to say 6 o'clock at night. We are going to be watching the ASCS sprint cars, the Kaplan University Modifieds, and the Valentino Sport Compacts, I believe is what it is.
Hey, by the way, I do want to mention this. I know it's kind of a sidetrack again, but holy cow, is Andrew doing good? Kaziski, our former co-host?
Yeah, finished 18th.
Well, but
yeah, I was down at Kaziski Auto Parts.
Yeah.
By the way, go there if you need parts. But I walked in. He goes, "What are you doing here?" I was like, "I just wanted to see what it feels like to run 18th." And he's like, we give each other crap.
Sure. What do you mean you want to know what it feels like? You finished 18th.
Yeah. So he's like, no, he did look good. He looked fast, but he had a ball joint break on his car. And I think he's sitting third in points right now in the SLMR series.
He was talking about, because that was the second SLMR points night, was the Charlie Clark Memorial, and he was talking about he was so excited because he noticed that the guy that was ahead of him and the guy that was behind him in the points were both in the pits done for the night. So he's like, I hold on to it, and I've got myself a big old point lead leaving here. And then they have a big stint this week, and I think they're racing.
The first and second, McCool Junction, and the other place, I want to say Albion, but I may be wrong on that.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I know McCool Junction's in there.
I'll have to look up their schedule. But
Junction Motor Speedway's in there. But
but man, is he running good. And it's just that he's a completely different kid right now.
Yeah.
He was. We saw him the last couple of weeks that he was on the Sling and Dirt. He was stressed. His head was down. He was just schooled, not racing good. The all the stuff they had going on, and it's amazing what momentum and doing good will do to a guy's personality. I mean, his head is up. His eyes are wide. He's so excited to be back at the track. As to where it was a couple, it was just like, man, we don't have the horsepower. The car's not set up right. And he said, man,
he almost looks like he's having a lot of fun right now.
Yeah, he goes, the weeks that I haven't been on the front stretch, we have been working our butts off on this car, and it's paying off. He's looking good, and everybody at that track was so excited to see him win.
That's the number one thing I hate about people, and I shouldn't say about people in general, but a lot of people will look at a person and go, well, he only finished 18th in the race, or Bud, you only finished 17th. What you don't see is, okay, yeah, I finished 17th or 18th. The results don't lie. I was running 6th or 5th, 6th or 7th.
Yeah.
Or, in my case with Doug Smith, okay, I don't think I've ever seen a sport mod run as fast as Doug Smith Friday on Denison.
Yeah.
Even Jesse Sabine included. I don't think I've ever seen that. But I come in, it's like, were we that slow? They're like, no, you guys were fast. That guy just had warp drive going on.
Yeah, he did. Andrew's doing very well, and I'm very excited. I thought he was going to win the race on Thursday night at the ASCS because they were running an SLMR series that night. And he had the lead for quite a while. And oh, by the way, he took the lead away from Bill Layton Jr.
Really?
Ran him down and passed him with authority. Started checking out, but made that mistake. He got he heated up his tires too hot.
Thursday
traction.
Thursday was not an SLMR race.
Okay, that was just a regular late model race.
That was a weekly show. Yep.
And he got his tires too hot, and it started to go away on him. And I saw him in the pits. I thought, I had my front stretch jacket on. I had my Andrew Kaczynski shirt on, and I was joking. I said, if you'd have won, I'd have been in victory lane. I'd have pulled my shirt back like Superman and just Andrew Kaczynski. But again, the car went away from him, and as soon as Bill passed him, he started to get back in that dirty air and started to fall back. But I'm really excited. I think he's on the verge of a win, and we could see him. I think he's very, very, very keyed up to take the SLMR championship this year.
Oh yeah, he's there's 19 races on their series schedule, and I think he could have. And it's not that the driver wants it, but I think the schedule's long enough that. He finished 18th this week. I don't think that will necessarily hurt him overall. No. I'm like you. I think if he doesn't win the championship, he's definitely a top 3.
Yeah, definitely. And so that's Slinging Dirt for this week, right?
Yep. And pray to God we don't rain out this weekend.
Jesus, any day now it can just. You know what? I've got no problem with rain on Monday and Tuesday. Maybe a little shower on Wednesday. Let's clean it up on Thursday and Friday, kids.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Right. Let's clean it up. So we just we can get some dirt
well, in this area, it could rain on Sunday, but for you folks out there listening to us 90 miles to the east, we want no rain Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Right. So that's the Slinging Dirt. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back, hopefully be back next week.
We hope.
It just all depends on if there's something to talk about. We're not going to throw one of these things out there and just kind of talk about peanut butter sandwiches.
We need to get Ryan McPike in here. What in the hell's going on with this weather?
Oh my God. I don't think anybody. Well, it's global warming / environment change, but whatever. That's speculation. But anyways,
I thought Mother Nature was on PMS.
She's something else, ain't she? Thank you for joining us, bud. Thanks again for having another show. Be sure to tune in this Sunday morning for the front stretch. We're going to have an in-depth conversation with Travis Dickus, Jason Cole, and Kyle Burke, who are all winners from the Charlie Clark Memorial. We'll also break down the CCM a little bit more, to get you a little bit more in-depth information on that. And we'll talk Coca-Cola 600. We'll talk the Monster Mile. And why it's not a good idea to string a camera from turn 4 to turn 1 at a major sporting event.
Things that make you go snap.
Right. Thanks so much for listening. We've had another great episode of Slinging Dirt. We'll talk to you next week. 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 Slinging Dirt. We'll talk to you next week.